Thanks, Suraj. Uh, Please share. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Himanshu Garg. Right. I'll be walking everybody through the IVP processes that we have modeled for this demonstration. So starting from demand planning, going into tactical planning in time series uh, optimizer in IVP, and the output from time series optimizer will take it to the order series for operational planning window, and will integrate the results from order series back to S/4HANA for scheduling and allocation check. Right. So inventory optimization is another module that we are using, and we are getting the safety stock number into time series as well as into order series. But we'll not delve too much deep into inventory optimization in this demonstration. So within demand planning, I'm going to show you the statistical forecast and consensus planning. Okay. So for this demo, we are going to use the web user interface for IBP as well as the Excel interface for IBP. So let's start with the web user interface. So here we have a dashboard where we have put together some analytics from demand planning and supply planning. So the first analytics that you see here is the forecasting analysis analytics. Here what we see is the actual quantity adjusted number, the historical sales for all the products in the model, and also the stat forecast quantity for the future horizon, and the sales forecast quantity just for comparison. Right. Then the other thing that we see here is the consensus plan that we have created for the process industry. And what we see here is the consensus demand plan. We also see the sales forecast revenue in the orange line, and the green line is the annual operating plan. And all these numbers are in revenue terms, not the actual quantities. Right. So I'll show you the same information in Excel. Okay. So this is the Excel view in IBP, and this is the consensus plan planning book that we have developed in Excel. And as Suraj mentioned in the overview, that we are doing our demand planning at the product and customer level. So here is the product on the left hand side and the customer. For this product 21, we have multiple customers for which we have forecast and sales forecast, marketing forecast, and operating plan, and finally the consensus demand plan. So this consensus demand plan that you see here is in tons. And the product itself is managed in kilograms, right, as the base unit, but we can see data in tons or any other mass unit that is associated with the product in IVP. Now this consensus demand plan quantity is the figure that is passed on to supply planning for S&OP purposes in time series optimizer. Right. So going back to the presentation, now we'll talk about the tactical planning in IVP using time series optimizer, right? So in time series optimizer, what we have is we have modeled all the priorities for different products, different customers. We have modeled the inventory holding cost and the non-delivery cost and other various costs, for example, the production cost, all other penalty costs, to come up with a feasible supply plan. Right, and we are also using the fair share within time series optimizer, which helps us to allocate the constrained supply to respective customer demands. Right. So what I'm going to talk about is the consensus demand versus fulfilled demand, the capacity and its impact of pre-building. In case we have a capacity shortage, system tries to pre-build if it can to meet the peaks in the demand pattern. Then we will also talk about the time phase BOM and the batch visibility within IBP. So I'll take you back to the dashboard first. So in the dashboard here we have an analytics which talks about what is the consensus demand that we received from demand planning and what is the constrained supply that the IBP time series optimizer has calculated against this forecast. So in the first month, you can see that we are already so far down in the July that our constrained supply is very little as compared to the forecast because we don't have enough time to procure materials, we don't have enough capacity available. Similarly, going into August, we are a little better off as compared to July, but still we have a lot of shortages. Then in September, we are very close to our demand and so on and so forth. So here you can compare. And the other figure that we can compare it with is the sales forecast quantity, how we are tracking along the sales forecast. So I'll show you the same data set on Excel side to give you a better understanding how we can see the same data set at a detail level in Excel. We can see the same thing in analytics as well, but on the dashboard, we can apply filters. Now this is a planning view where we have the customer demand at the product and customer level. So this demand is transferred from demand planning, and the output of the supply planning is visible in this key figure, total customer demand delivered. So this is the constraint supply that optimizer has generated. And here you can see that there are certain weeks where optimizer is simply not able to meet the demand in this case. Then for another customer, you can see that it is not able to meet demands in the initial weeks, but it to meet partially, the forecast that we have received from demand planning. But wherever it cannot, it is just shorting the demand. But on the other hand, this is the other product which can be manufactured at more than one resource. So you will see that wherever it is not able to secure supply on one resource, it is moving on to another resource and it is trying to fulfill as much demand as it can. So the way we have modeled is that item 22 has more priority as compared to item 21. And as a result, you'll see there are less shortages for item 22 as compared to item 21. So the system is trying to fulfill the demand for item 22 before it attempts to fulfill completely for 21. Okay. Now this is the view at the product and customer level. Now this demand is transmitted down the supply chain upstream to the DC and further to the factory, and that information is visible on this planning view, which is at the product and location level. So different customers for this product 21 send their demand to the DC 3500. So 3500 is supplying to all the customers, and we can see here the dependent customer demand for respective customers. So we are getting the demands in respective buckets. And if I scroll down, we can also see the supplies that are coming in from the factory, the stock on hand and other supplies that are coming in from the factory as purchase equation or STRs. Now going back to the factory, whatever STRs we see at the DC, we see them as dependent location demand at the factory level. You can see here. And these demands are being met by the production. So what we see here is the production order that exists in the next week. System is able to look at that production order as well as it can plan additional planned production in IBP. And this planned production may not always match up with the dependent demand, because in case, as I said earlier, where we have capacity shortages, for example in week 39 it is not making any production, but it is pre-building stuff. As you can see in week 35 we have a projected stock which is nothing else but pre-build, right? So it is trying to build stock ahead of time so that it can meet demand in later weeks. Similarly here you can see the pre-building happening. Okay. So now let's take a look at the capacity situation. Again, going back to the dashboard. Here we have a couple of analytics which talk about the key resources that we have in this model. These are the 2 reactors that we have modeled at location 2000. And you can see here the reactor 1 is almost 100% loaded every week except couple of weeks, right? However, the reactor 2 is 100% loaded in initial buckets, but then it is a little relaxed. And the reason for that is that the demand in the first couple of months is very high as compared to remaining months, being the seasonal products that we have in the model. And on the right hand side, you see the same capacity situation, but divided by individual products which are running on those reactors. So the color of these bars represent different products. So the red bar is for product 22, the green bar is for product 21, and the violet bar is for product 27. These are the 3 products that we are using in this model at the location 2000. And the other thing that you can notice is that the green bar, which is product 21, goes over to another reactor, reactor 2, whenever the capacity is not enough on reactor 1, because that's the preferred resource, but it can always switch over to the alternate resource in IBP when the capacity is not enough on the preferred resource. And same goes for this product 27. Okay. Now,